my name is Kramer and I teach trumpet at Colorado State University. The purpose of this video is to help you prepare the excerpts for the 2016 Colorado All-State Band Audition. Both excerpts for this audition come from the Snedecor Lyrical Etudes for Trumpet. This video will cover Etude 11 on page 16, measures 1 through 32. The first things I always look at are the time and key signatures. In this case, we are in 3/8 and the key of B-flat major. There are many scale year passages in this excerpt, so a good place to start practicing is knowing your B-flat major scale well and in both octaves. That way, when you're playing this piece, your muscle memory will kick in and you won't have to concentrate on your fingers so much. For example, measures 5 through 7 go right up and down the major scale. Now, granted, it's not necessarily starting or stopping on B-flats, but if you know your scale well enough, it really will help. The next step will be making sure our tempo and style is what Snedecor intended. Please note there may be a typo in your etude book that says quarter note equals 84. It should say dotted quarter note equals 84. Now keep in mind that's pretty quick, so depending on how fast your single tonguing is, you may want to choose to double tongue the tongued 16th note passages. Or I always prefer to err on the side of cleanliness and accuracy. So if you need to take the tempo marking down a few notches, there's no harm in that. Whatever tempo you decide on for your final audition, I absolutely recommend starting your practice sessions a little slower. The main style indicators seem to be the articulations. There are a lot of accents and staccatos and slurs. There are quite a few accents placed on beat 1 of the measure, so this tells me there should be a pretty strong feel of 1 rather than 3 equal beats. Here's a demonstration of measures 1 through 4 showing a heavy accent on 1, and then another example of no accent. I think you'll really hear how it changes the feel. The next articulation that we should look at is the staccato. I like to think of staccato as light and separated rather than short. Try not to clip the note, but rather just think half the length, still with a nice beginning and ending to the tone. In measures 13 and 14, there are 8th notes with staccato. So I want to play it at a 16th note with a 16th rest. Here's the difference between a nice staccato and a clip note that's too short. There are some measures that have 16th notes with staccato. At this fast of a tempo, I recommend just keeping it light and quick. Don't get too caught up in trying to make it short. It'll seem plenty short as you're flying through those passages. Regarding slurs, be sure to include all the notes that are under the slur. Sometimes we want to tongue the last note of a slurred passage or even tongue a note because it makes it easier to play. But paying attention to those kinds of details are what will set your audition apart from someone else's. There's a long slur from the pickups to measure 5 all the way to the downbeat of measure 8. Don't let yourself tongue anything in there. Another hint about those measures is to be sure your fingers are keeping good and rhythmic time. Don't let yourself rush or gloss over any of those notes. Push your valves down hard, even the dreaded third valve. There are also a couple of slurs that cover some bigger intervals. In measure 15, we slur from A to F, a 6th. On first try, you may hit a D on the way up to the F. Here are a couple practice techniques to get this smooth. Number 1, tongue both notes, but hold the A as long as possible and keep the sound going until the very last second when you switch up to the high F. Another way to practice is to take out your mouthpiece and buzz the pitches. This will show if you're actually hearing both notes correctly. It also allows you to keep the air and sound going throughout. Sometimes we want to cheat when slurring bigger intervals, and we actually back off of the air, but I want you to push through to the F and move through the slur as quickly as possible, landing immediately on the F. The last articulation we'll talk about are the notes that don't have anything indicated. There are only a few of these, but if you look at the first couple measures of A, there are 6 Ds in a row that have no articulation written. I would tongue the beginning of these notes in a similar style I've been playing, but I would keep them full value to distinguish them from the staccato notes. The final thing I'll mention is be sure to pay attention to the dynamics and try to expand your range of loud and soft as much as possible. In this excerpt, we start out at mezzo forte, which I like to think of as just a comfortable volume. Be sure it's loud enough, though, so the piano at A feels like a true piano, but without having to struggle to get it soft enough. We end the excerpt with a nice forte, so try to make the most out of the crescendo in measure 27 so you can get from piano to forte comfortably. However, when we try to play too loud, sometimes our tempo and tonguing can suffer. So with this fast of a tempo, err on the side of light and quick and work on just a nice full sound rather than trying to play loud. Now I'm going to play the entire excerpt, keeping all of these points in mind. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful. Good luck on your audition, and I hope to see you soon.